Fellow PECOSIANs and friends, I welcome you to the first episode of my show, The World Is My Oyster, a show that will introduce you to a PECOSIAN who has done us all proud through their achievements in their career. Several PECOSIANs have practically attained celebrity status due to frequent mentions in media for their diverse and outstanding contributions, like the late Kalpana Chawla Jaspal Bhatti or the popular rap star Badshah. However, there are hundreds of other glittering stars that Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh has produced over the years. The purpose of this show is to get you to meet and celebrate such PECOSIANs who have been shining brightly in India or in lands far away, hence the name, The World Is My Oyster. In our maiden episode, I am pleased to introduce my dear friend and batchmate from Production Engineering 1983 batch, Umang Sharma. Umang, or Booty as his friends call him, was an outstanding badminton player during our PEC days, and apart from being captain of PEC's badminton team and the General Secretary Sports, Umang was also the badminton champion of Chandigarh, Punjab and Haryana states. Based out of Malaysia for over 2 decades, Umang is the director and CEO of Air Malaysia and the founder chairman of Consortium of Indian Industries in Malaysia, or the CIIM, as it is popularly called. The degree of recognition that Umang enjoys in Malaysia is borne out by the title of Datuk, which was bestowed upon him and is the highest ranking state award title conferred by nobody less than the King of Malaysia himself. So over to Datuk, Umang Sharma now. We are privileged to have you on the show, our first representative from our batch of 1983, a person who has done exceedingly well in Malaysia and made Indians proud. I know one thing about your presence over there, that the moment there is anything big concerning India that happens in Malaysia, whether it was the Prime Minister or was it the former Prime Minister of India, the finance ministers, any meeting of heads of state, any cricket match, any badminton tournament that happens, I get to see, in fact, even the IFA awards, if I'm not mistaken. I have seen your pictures with practically all the celebrities at all these do's which are happening in Malaysia. So quite obviously, I know that you're very important and very important presence for Indians and representative of India as an ambassador practically of India, based out of Kuala Lumpur, a country where you have been, I think, since 94 or 95. So that should be a good 25 years you've been based out of Malaysia. But I think what I would like our viewers to know is from the time you left PEC, which was 1983, where we all know you as the badminton champion, the state champion, the captain of our badminton team, and the inter-university or the Punjab University badminton team also, an avid squash player. You've been part of the tennis team that has won something awards for us in PEC. From that to where you are today, can you explain that journey to us? I'm sure a lot of us would like to learn from that.
Well, thank you, Sanjiv, first of all, for this very nice introduction. Well, I'm a very small fry in Malaysia, and I am trying to do a little bit of whatever I can do. Well, PEC was a fantastic time that I had over there. Meeting with all the new people that we got to know, and Chandigarh being my hometown also. So it was quite a pleasant experience in PEC. Though most of my professors complained that I did not attend classes because I was playing most of the time.
Right.
So at that time was very, very, what should I say, into competitive sports. I played the Indian National Badminton Championship when I was 15 years old, my first championship. Yeah, and I used to represent Chandigarh, Punjab, Haryana, all these because I was the state champion at that time. And of course, within PEC, we were very fortunate to have a good team, and I led them to win inter-engineering badminton championship and also inter-university, and ultimately I was ranked India number 3 in juniors in the national badminton. But that's a story that we had, and besides that, I was fortunate enough to graduate and finish my engineering. I got selected to join Thermax through the campus placement interview. And that was one of the best, I would say, training grounds that I had or anyone could have for a new trainee who graduates and joins this organization. Fantastic organization. They make boilers and, many other equipment now. So I joined them in Pune. I was trained there for about 6 months in Bombay, then landed up in Delhi. Then I was handling their northern region for sales of energy recovery equipment, heat recovery equipment. So that was a very interesting and enterprising kind of a business that we were doing, because it was, there's a lot of concept selling involved in that. So with the result that one has to do a lot of ROIs and, sell the concept first before you can sell any equipment. So that was very interesting. And that's when I was asked to join Briar because they were also in similar equipment, energy recovery and also into environment. They make desiccant dehumidifiers. So 1988, I joined Briar, and I was heading their northern region with the P&L responsibility, and also doing concept selling as well as HVAC product selling. So that was very nice, and very nice atmosphere, working atmosphere, very similar to what we had at Thermax. And then what happened that the northern region in one of the years did fantastically well, and I was given an opportunity to, rather a holiday for Southeast Asia along with the family, and I happened to land up in Malaysia, where we had one of the manufacturing plants. And what happened after that is that there were issues in this plant here. And then my boss, who's the promoter of the company, asked me whether would you like to go there and turn around the company because of my performance back in India. So then I think we liked the place, me and my wife. So that's how we landed up in Malaysia.
Excellent.
And but after that, then of course, I was able to turn around within 1 year, and then we had to grow the business. So we ventured out into different countries. We had operations in China, Taiwan, Southeast Asia. Ultimately, when the business grew, then we had a manufacturing plant in China. So that is where I am as of now, as far as my professional career is concerned.
Quite a journey, remarkable. If I gather this correctly, so 94, 95 is the period when you went on your holiday, so-called, to Malaysia and saw the factory manufacturing facility that Bayer had in Malaysia. And the period that it took you to turn around the operations in Malaysia, how long was that period?
Actually, within 1 year's time, we did some very strategic, we took some very strategic decisions.
Excellent.
There were some very, very, obvious things that could be fixed. And within, I think about 1.5 year maximum, we could fix that. And then it was a matter of growing from there.
So basically, if I understand this correctly, Malaysia was a manufacturing unit for the company. It was one of the plants that you had globally.
Correct. Yes.
Your role over there was one of a turnaround manager, right? So you addressed the bottlenecks that were there and got the production, and I guess quality and production would have been two of the main things that would be of concern in any manufacturing plant. You got them back on track, right? And thereafter, it was growth of the plant for growing the market for Bayer. But were these products that you were manufacturing in Malaysia, were they meant only for the Malaysian market, or they were going across to global markets?
See, the thing is that the issues were not only in the manufacturing side, but also on the sales and marketing side.
All right. Okay.
So it was an overall fixing of the issues that were there within the organization rather than only the manufacturing plant per se. You know, there are desiccant dehumidifiers, heat recovery products like for, air-to-air heat exchangers for air conditioning applications, for green buildings. And we also make adsorption chillers, which run on hot water rather than on electricity.
Right.
So these are, some of the products that we make, and which are for export purposes as well, rather than only for domestic Malaysian market. From Malaysia, we cater to the Southeast Asian markets. And we have manufacturing in US, which caters to the US market. We have manufacturing in India, which caters to India and Middle East. And we have now a plant in China and one which looks after China. And then we have one plant in Brazil, which looks after the South American market.
Okay. So basically, you're looking after South Asia and Asia Pacific markets from the base in Malaysia. And you've been able to expand your manufacturing capacities to China, which is again something which reports into you and something that was your initiative, I guess.
Well, it doesn't report into me, but I was the one who initiated. I was handling that market, and once it became fully operational, then it became an independent operation.
Excellent. So that's as far as the work goes. Now tell me, somewhere I think, was it late 1990s or some period, you actually went in for an MBA from a university in UK. How did you get around to that? Was this a full-time program? Did you actually move out of Malaysia to go and attend a full-time MBA course, or did you do it while you were working with Bayer?
No, I did that while I was working with Bayer. It was a part-time program that I did from Malaysia, and we had weekend classes where a professor used to come from UK and teach us.
All right. So this the duration
was a 2-year program.
2 years, yeah, the same 2-year program that you did there.
Yes.
And tell me, I mean, knowing that you had done so much and achieved so much post your engineering, which was largely based on experience and on-the-job learning. I won't really say training, because we end up learning a lot more than we were ever trained to do. I've seen that with several of us who have come out of PEC, that we've normally gone way beyond the training manuals and our own trainers to pick up much more than that, because possibly none of us had the time for any of that when we were in college. So coming back to this, tell me, did the MBA that you did it add any value to what you already were? Because you were already somebody who was sitting there as a director and CEO. You had successfully turned around an operation. You had initiated another global operation, which was manufacturing in China, possibly by then, or maybe it was slightly later. You had addressed and opened up new markets. So how exactly do you think the MBA benefited you?
I think to some extent, you already learned whatever you had to learn by way of experience working in an organization. But I think to finer aspects, especially on the finance side, That was something that brushed up my knowledge on the financial side. And two is networking that you do with all the people who are there. So these are the two major takeaways, I would say, that helped me do this MBA.
Great. So finance I can understand, because that is something where we are normally clueless. However well we do in our own fields, finance is something that I think most of us science graduates and engineering graduates are very unprepared for. So and no business can be built without an understanding, and a very deep understanding and an astute eye to look into balance sheets and figure out where exactly things are not looking right. Now, we know that you are the founder and chairperson of the CIIM, the Confederation of Indian Industries in Malaysia. You have several trade delegations which have come, visited Malaysia from India. There have been free trade agreements which have been signed. Obviously, there are bureaucrats and ministers whose visits would have preceded such agreements being signed between the two countries. What exactly promoted or got the idea in your head that you needed to create this kind of an organization in Malaysia? Was it totally your brainchild, or were there a few industrialists who were sitting there, entrepreneurs and industrialists who were sitting there, who felt that such an association would help pave the way for better business?
See, what happened when we were here, but there were some companies who had already invested here, and there were some entrepreneurs and some professionals who were working here. And we used to meet earlier with through the High Commission, and the ambassador used to call all these people, whether there's any issues or not, and then our number of people grew, investments grew in Malaysia. And then it came to a point that High Commission also depended on who is the High Commissioner and how much initiative they take. So we thought that it is good that we take the initiative on our own. And at that time, we had the CI India chapter over here. So we started working with them. We thought, why don't we, start another chapter or work with them and call it the Consortium of Indian Industries in Malaysia. Initially, we started working with them, but eventually when there was enough momentum and enough traction, then CIA thought that it is good that you be on your own. And then they moved out, and that is the time that we established this organization in 2005. And we were fortunate enough to have Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was the Prime Minister at that time, come and launch along with Mr. Kamal Nath, who was the Industries Minister, and also the CIA President, Mr. Y.C. Deveshwar, who was ITC Chairman. They were all here present when we actually launched this organization in 2005. This organization, Sanjiv, to give you a background, is a registered national level organization in Malaysia. The members of the organization, this CIM, are the CEOs of all these organizations who have invested from India in Malaysia. So it's quite a high-powered organization that way. And the members of CIM include companies like Reliance, PCS, then Biocon, Sun Pharma, all the major investors who are here, and also along with the SMEs. So we all grouped under one umbrella, and that is the one that I'm now heading since the time that we conceptualized this. And the purpose of this is, of course, that we besides networking and opening opportunities for our members, we also look at we give feedback to the governments, both the Malaysian and the Indian governments, as to what could be done, what should be done. When India and Malaysia signed this comprehensive economic cooperative agreement, Malaysian India SICA agreement, we were one of the few ones who were giving active feedback as to what are the ground realities, where one should look at which issues we need to attack on double taxation issues, or on movement of natural persons, or any trade barriers, non-tariff barriers. So all these kind of things that we are the ones who are giving them feedback, both from the Indian side as well as on the Malaysian side.
Excellent.
So that way we play a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and
we play a bit of a catalytic role in enhancing the trade and investments between India and Malaysia.
excellent. I guess, I mean, unless you have a spokesperson there, unless you have an organization which actually sees the opportunity and the problems which exist in any foreign land, it's very difficult for people to take the right steps. And once an organization like CIM is there, I'm sure there is a lot of facilitation that you do of people who are planning to open up businesses in Malaysia. I'm sure there is a lot that you are doing in terms of promoting the policies of Malaysia amongst Indian businesses also, and telling people what is an opportune time to set up and establish themselves in Malaysia. Like I remember there was a stage in between about, was it late, it was early 2000s, I think, when Putrajaya and places were coming up, the IT hub for Malaysia, which is outside of Kuala Lumpur. And a lot of Indian companies in the IT sector were beginning to set up, big units in Malaysia. So I'm sure these are the kind of opportunities that your organization would be identifying and helping people with that. So this is something that our viewers actually should know, that if you are planning to set up established business in Malaysia, you have one of us, Datuk Umang Sharma, as the person that you must make your first port of call if you intend to do business and not lose money or not make the mistakes that you would end up learning from. So avoid some mistakes. Here is a person coming from PEC, one of us, who has done extremely well and who understands business and industry in Malaysia far better than a lot of people who would be even settled out there for a long time. So this was about the CIIM and your role in that. So as I said, Umang has been given the highest honor that the country of Malaysia has as a title, the title of Datuk. So what exactly is the Datukship that Umang Sharma carries? And how was he recognized for this honor, which was given by nobody less than the King of Malaysia himself? Umang, would you like to tell us about the process that was there, if there was any that you're aware of, or they just picked you up and they found that you've done such exceptional work that they just had to recognize you?
Well, it all started with CIM when we formed that, and we were interacting very closely with both the Indian and Malaysian governments, and also the Malaysian minister. Whenever the industries minister, whenever he used to go to India, he would have a meeting with us. He would take tips as to what they should do to promote Malaysia in India, or to get investments from India, or vice versa. So we worked very closely with both the actually government, Malaysian government, and whenever there was any minister who's coming from India, so we would have interactions with them, also giving them feedback. So industries minister, education minister, or finance minister, they all, whenever they come here, we get a chance, an opportunity to have a talk with them, with the result that they started recognizing our efforts of CIM, that what we are doing, we are facilitating both trade as well as investments, and over a period of time, they realize that our contribution has led to increase in the trade between the two countries. When Dr. Manmohan Singh came here, I think Prime Minister Najib was the Prime Minister. They had a target of 15 billion trade by 2015, which was exceeded in 3 years' time instead of 5 years' time.
Oh,
and we played a minor role in that, in terms of when they signed this comprehensive economic agreement, we were the first one to highlight what are the opportunities that are coming out of this agreement, we organized seminars, we got people from India, we got the chief negotiators from India and Malaysia together. So all the efforts that we put in then ultimately got recognized by the government of Malaysia. And the king was very kind enough, His Excellency, His Majesty, to offer that, or rather award that title to me, which is called Datuk. It is equivalent to something like a knighthood in UK, which carries the title Sir. So that is how it happened. And I'm very, very pleased and thankful to the Malaysian government for recognizing that that effort. And of course, it was in the teamwork of CM which got that. But since I was heading it and I was founder chairman there, he was very kind enough to award that title to me.
Excellent. So I would not be wrong in saying that you are the first PECOSIAN to get the title of Datuk. Maybe
well, I
you the first Indian to get the title of Datuk.
I was about to come to that. Actually, I am not the first, I'm the second. And the first was awarded to Mr. Shah Rukh Khan.
Oh, all right.
Yes. He got the award based on his, he shot many films here. He was trying to promote tourism between Malaysia and India. Right. So he was actually the first, and I am the second Indian citizen or Indian passport holder who has, from the National King, got this award from the National King.
Hats off. That is great news for all of us. So anyway, as far as we're concerned, the only PECOSIAN to have got this title, the honor so far. And okay, Shah Rukh Khan is the Delhi guy, so he is permitted. Right? All right. Umang, there were these pictures which I saw a few years ago, which were taken with our president, APJ Abdul Kalam. After that, I saw some pictures of you with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, which you already mentioned was about the CIIM, right? And then there was a visit from our current Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji. I remember him having his arms around you on stage, and you have quite a few close-ups with him. Would you like to tell us something about that visit of Prime Minister Modi and your interactions with him during that?
So, when Mr. Modi came here, he had come on an official visit, but he was very kind enough to take time off to meet up with the businessmen here. And there were two agendas in the meeting. One was he wanted to brief us all on what is happening in India, what are the initiatives that he's taking up over there, Make in India, startups and all these things. And then he also wanted to know from us that what are the things that he could do and what are the issues that we are facing here. So that was a very nice interactive session we had, and it was a very high-powered delegation he had with him. And he was very kind enough to take notes as to what we are saying and respond to them immediately on what are the actions that he's planning to take on them. So he was a very hands-on person. Very nice, warm. So I think it was a fantastic meeting that we had with him. We had one official meeting and we had a social meeting with him. So it was very, very interesting meeting that we had with him.
How about life in general? How does being away from India, how does it feel? I mean, you are now an NRI for around 25 years. I know your visits to India are fairly frequent. We do get to meet very often, especially when you are here. I do remember that you do remember to call each time you do make a visit here, even if it's for a couple of days. But how about, do you miss anything about India, apart from your parents, who I know are still at Chandigarh? What exactly is it that, that ties you down, binds you to India? Wo dil hai Hindustani wala fanda, is it still there, or is it lost in Malaysia now?
No, I think the Dil hai Hindustani wala fanda will always be there. You can't take away India or Chandigarh out of a person who's lived there so long. what we miss is the family and friends, and of course the food that we get there. That's fantastic, and that is something that we really miss out here in Malaysia. Having said that, I think Malaysia is a beautiful place to live as well. Having lived that so long for 25 years, it's actually, I realize that I've lived here longer than I've lived in Chandigarh.
Oh boy.
So in some ways,
That's
it is
something.
more, it is hometown for me. But it's a very comfortable place to live. Very close proximity to India. It's just a 5 hours flight. It's like Delhi, Chandigarh kind of a setup. So easy going, excellent infrastructure, lots of golf courses around. You can play lots of golf here.
We'll come to that.
It's a fantastic place, I would say. But as you rightly said, Dil hai still Hindustani.
Wonderful. तो आलू के पराठे याद आते हैं, राजमा चावल याद आते हैं. So
बिल्कुल आते हैं जी.
Feeding you enough of that?
Enough, I think. It's showing on me now.
So, yeah, that actually, the fitness is something which has obviously been a slight compromise, part of the, thanks to the professional career. But I realize that you stay a sportsman still, right? It's just that the sport has changed. So I'm not sure how much time you get, whether you play badminton anymore or not. But I definitely know that you're an avid golfer. Your weekends definitely go at the golf course. So let's hear about your fitness regime and sports.
Well, I think I gave up badminton about 5-6 years ago when I had some hip issues. Till then, I was playing on weekends. I was playing doubles. It's more for recreation rather than anything else. Then I've been playing golf now for about 15 years. And I was very fortunate enough to have a hole-in-one in the very first year that I started to play, and that was a great motivation to continue to play. So, but having said that, I haven't had anyone after that. Other than that, I also sometimes, go for walks, long walks. That is something that I have developed over a period of time, because one doesn't get enough time to go to the gym many a time. Right. So it's mainly, I would say, golf and walking. That is the main activity as far as sports is concerned. Besides, of course, watching. I watch all kinds of sports, tennis, badminton, cricket.
Oh, yes.
You name it.
Not only you watch a lot of sports, I have seen your pictures with the likes of Sachin Tendulkar, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Yuvraj Singh, Saina Nehwal, Sindhu, PV Sindhu. I mean, every sports person that I think has visited Kuala Lumpur, you seem to have found the time to, or made the time to meet them, or they made the time to meet you. How does it actually happen? Do they actually come and ask for Datuk Umang Sharma that I want a picture with him? Or to you, they are the celebrities? I mean, who's the celebrity between the two of you when I see a picture of you with somebody?
No, I think they are definitely the celebrities. I'm nowhere near them. But see, what has happened is that when I was playing that time, many of my friends now are my contemporaries. They are either the national coaches, or they are they have their own academies. Like Vimal, for instance, he's running an academy with Prakash Padukone in Bangalore, and he is also the coach of Saina Nehwal. So whenever they come here, Vimal gives me a call and we get together, and that's how we get to meet. Or I go to Bangalore, I meet up with them. And similarly in Delhi and other places, Hyderabad, wherever we meet the badminton players, we get to know, keep each other company and find out what's happening. And Vimal goes to Olympics, he keeps, telling me what is happening over there. So it's because of friends that they are there. And of course, we have the new celebrities who are world champions, and you get to, meet them, and also get an opportunity to take a photo with them.
Wonderful. No, but it's nice to know, because this brings out that our peer group today is actually either coach or mentor. So while the youngsters are getting us all these titles which make India so proud, it is actually a generation which has guided and coached these people into getting into the international slots, right? Things have improved a lot. I mean, at one time, an Asian Games medal meant a lot to India, and we've come a very long way practically in every sport from there. And there is, of course, a lot more distance that we need to cover, because with the kind of population that we have in the country, uh, I think we should be somewhere at the top of the Olympic medal tallies, not merely content with a first medal or a few medals which we end up getting now, which is anyway a big change from where we used to be. So, Umang, finally, all this falls in place. Any word of advice that you would have for our friends and fellow PECOSIANs?
Yeah, I think come to Malaysia. That is my advice and suggestion. Come over, have a look here. Lovely place to invest here. A great place to holiday, of course, after the COVID period. And I think we should all visit each other wherever we are all over the world. Keep in touch, and any help that you need from Malaysia, let us know. I'll be there to whatever support I can offer. We'll be there to support you. So good luck and best wishes to all. Hope to keep in touch. And thank you, Sanjiv, for organizing this a fantastic talk, or I don't know, what do they
Heart
call
to
it?
heart, going from
Huh?
one PECOSIAN, I said heart to heart conversation, which
Correct.
from here onwards, I think I would try to make it a regular affair by inviting people, possibly on a weekly basis. But there is so much that our own people need to know about our own people. People's, in the country who get to meet, there is a lot of exposure and people understand what their achievements are. People who've been abroad for a long time, it's only their very close friends who seem to know what they're up to. So the idea is to bridge those gaps which are there and lead to better connectivity amongst PECOSIANs across the world. And as I said, the title of the show I'm keeping is The World Is My Oyster. So we have a lot of these pearls who are in the oyster all across the world. Let's be proud of them. Let's celebrate them. Thank you so much for joining us, Umang. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Now, I'm sure you want to get back to your work or your life. So I will not delay you any longer. Have a wonderful day. God bless. All the best.